I'm Sonia, a personal brand and style coach. My journey began in the corporate world and through lived experiences has led me where I am today. I've walked in those uncomfortable shoes, faced the same challenges and questioned my path to professional success while simultaneously navigating my personal style journey and the challenges that each decade brings. I wholeheartedly believe in the fusion of personal brand and style strategy. My mission here is to provide you with practical, actionable strategies and lived experiences to help you unlock your next level of success through the power of personal brand and style. Let's get started.
Welcome to the 50th episode of the Style and Strategy podcast. I can hardly believe I have hit this milestone. And, for many of you who have been listening in the podcast world, the first 100, the first 300, are all going to be eventful, but 50 is really special to me because they say that some podcasts don't make it past the first 10 episodes. So what was really special to me is I had an idea 12 months ago around this time to really start to bring to you some personal brand and style stories, journeys, to really support you through career transitions, life transitions, and seeing this come to life and the journey that I've been through on this and having you here every step of that way has really just given me goosebumps as well. So thank you so much for being here. So firstly, I really want to thank whether you are a listener for the first time or potentially a listener that has been here from the beginning with me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really, really appreciate you being here. So this podcast for me has always been a space where personal brand meets style and strategy all together. The two worlds to which, I had many say, but hang on, what have they got to do together? But for me, it was a combination of two things I'm very passionate about. And, to bring it together and have you listen means so much. It's really that place where female entrepreneurs, business owners, and career leaders can find some tools and inspiration to help them and you step into your next level of success. So as I come and close out the 2024 year, I'm going to try to reflect on some lessons that I have learned and celebrate some of those wins and really prepare for what 2025 is going to hold. So I'm just going to take you back through a couple of episodes that you have absolutely loved out of the 50. And you know that I've done a bit of a combination of bringing really interesting guests on to share their journeys, as well as providing you with style strategy and insights just to mix things up again. So when I think about some of the real episodes that you have really loved, they covered such a broad range. One in particular was about building a winning personal brand and steps to really take those few steps towards if you weren't really sure where to start. Another one that seemed to have really hit home with you is about that balance of, is comfort in your clothes really the only way to get confidence? And, there were a lot of downloads of that episodes and a lot of feedback as well. And then there was also around, trying to re-find your style again when you're over 40 and you feel like you're going through a bit of transition and you're not sure where to find that style. That's another one that you loved as well. There are so many to choose from. And, even the episodes on sustainability, I had a lot of listeners email in about that and a topic that they were really passionate around. But especially so hearing some of the journey of a lot of women and the tips and hints and learnings that they had throughout their life in terms of navigating their own personal brand, their own leadership journeys. And for those women that I had the privilege of interviewing, thank you. Thank you for coming on the podcast that was, not tested and not proven yet, but you really let me know personally that you loved the way in which the program was crossing that boundary. So, again, thank you so much for listening in on that. I'm hoping to be able to get a little bit of a compilation going because, as many of you know, when you've listened to those interviews, I've always had 3 fire questions on the back of those. And they have been around, one mindset ritual that you would do to really get you out of your funk. The second one is a book that you've read or listened to that's really motivated you and dealing with a lot of change. And then the third one being your go-to outfit. So I'm really hoping to be able to put together a little compilation of those to be able to share with you over the next couple of weeks as well. Really, as I reflect over all the lessons that were communicated and the stories that I heard, it really brought home that there's no one way to achieve success. And there isn't one way of leading, whether that's leading from a personal perspective, whether that's leading your teams and standing up out there. There isn't one way, and it's about finding the methods that actually work for you. It's about showing up authentically now more than ever, because following what somebody else might say is the way to do it isn't necessarily going to be the way that is going to work for you. So there was also learnings around lessons as you go. Coming from a bit of a tech and financial services background, pivoting, learning, taking those mistakes not as failures, but as that opportunity for growth, and really reframing the mindset around that is another key area that was a lesson that came through. And then finally, my favorite part is taking the opportunity to use brand as well as style to amplify your story, what you stand for, and your voice as key elements as part of building out you holistically. There is so much to that. You've really learned that overall, when you're trying to build confidence, it's built incrementally, right? Every small step will get to that future vision of you. It's through those minute, small decisions, just like finally getting the confidence to step into that outfit, that bold outfit that represents you, maybe speaking up in the meeting for the first time, or redefining what success looks like for you. All of those elements really help you to build out what confidence looks like as a whole. When I started this podcast, initially I was focused very much on delivering practical tips. And yes, they came throughout the last 50 episodes, but really over time, what I've realized is there's a balance of the power of stories that I've shared, not just my own story and journey, but the incredible stories that I've heard from all the guests that have been on, as well as the beautiful stories that you've shared with me around the episodes that really resonated. So, that was one of the drivers around the change in my branding, where one of my new taglines is actually that your brand is your story and your style is your signature. Because to me, your brand represents everything. It's all those elements. And that I talk about values and how you stand and how you show up around that. But if you don't understand as a service provider, if I don't understand all those elements that have made up you, what your story is, then I don't have the full picture to be able to fully support you in your journey of transformation. One of the most probably vulnerable moments for me was my episode 11, which was Beyond the Suit, and really talking about my own personal brand exploration. And I guess as a learning, what I do want to share with you is it never ends. That transformation, that shift, that reinvention never stops. And I'm getting a bit emotional now because you spend years thinking there's this perfect person that you're supposed to be, or this vision of where you think you're supposed to be at. But it's actually those navigations of climbing, changing, learning, and refining that ends up getting to you finally where you're supposed to be. And is it the end? And does it mean you wrap it up all in a nice bow? No, absolutely not. Because you as a person are continually evolving. And so you will time and time again, as life changes, as goals change, that you will revisit your personal brand on a regular basis to really make sure that it's still aligning with the person that you are as you grow through that journey. So, what has been some of the most rewarding pieces from a community perspective is just hearing from you where there's been episodes that have really shifted the dial for you. And it might have been the most simplest thing, but nothing gives me more joy than hearing that you have been able to make a shift or make a change because of something I have said. So, what does that mean now looking into 2025? So I always like to give you a bit of an activity. And so one of those activities is I want you to really look back on your 2024. What are you most proud of? And it doesn't have to be money related. It could be anything. It could be the smallest thing, but if you are most proud of it, that is what is most important for you to hear. Maybe it's a leadership decision. Maybe it's a style risk you took. Or maybe it's just about how you've shown up for yourself this year. So really ask yourself what worked. Pat yourself on the back for that. Give you a chance to celebrate that. And then take some time to work on what didn't, maybe, and what you really want to focus on or do differently in the new year. You really want to be able to, for 2025, set that stage for, what does action look like for me in 2025? What does leadership look like for you in 2025? Committing to maybe one bold move that makes you feel, uncomfortable or squirmish. What's that one thing that you're going to pursue? Something that maybe scares you just a little bit, because in that, the growth will come. From a style perspective, take this opportunity. If you're getting some downtime, what's the one piece that maybe you've been wanting to wear or you see yourself in a future you that's going to make you feel unstoppable? So when are you going to allow yourself the time or the chance to wear it and buy it? And then, one of the things that I do consistently, especially over the last few years, is I always choose a word of the year. Something that's really going to guide my decisions and how I'm going to show up and really keep grounded. And my word for 2024 was freedom. And that was really important to me. So I'm going to be spending some time reflecting on that. And if this is something that you'd love a little bit of help on, I am looking at holding a bit of a workshop in January to help guide you through some of these thoughts, considerations, etc., to really set your 2025 up for success. So if you want to join me in that and you want to find out more, please drop me a DM or an email. Let me know and I will send you the details as soon as they are up. So if you've listened to last week's episode, hopefully you've sat down and set some goals for yourself. So I want you to think about those going forward. So set one for professional growth, set one for your personal brand and one for your style, and then write them down and really revisit them. So what's ahead for 2025. So I am still going to be here bringing you these episodes weekly, and I'm excited to continue exploring how personal brand and style strategy can really lift you and other women like you to make a bigger impact, whether you're a woman in business, you're an entrepreneur, or whether you're a professional career woman. We'll be diving into topics like mastering your presence, evolving your brand during transitions, and continuing that theme on getting more with less. And if there are certain individuals that you'd love to hear on the podcast, let me know. Send their names my way, and I'd love to get in touch. Thank you from the bottom of my heart of being part of this journey. Here's to a fabulous 2025. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much for being part of this inspiring episode. If you found value in today's discussion, please don't keep it a secret. Share it with a friend on social media, tag me at Your Style Collective, and leave a review. Your support means the world. Join me again next week for another empowering episode of Style and Strategy, the Leadership Series. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, you're already taking that first step towards your transformation journey. See you next time.